Happy Tuesday. What? We are being taken over by the Tech Bytes stream here today. We switched it up last week with the Thursday takeover, but we're back with Tech Bytes. And you know what? You're going to have me again on Thursday, so don't go too far. Big welcome, everyone tuning in. I've got two of my favorites up with me. We've got Kirsten Stoner and Matt Crape also joining me here on the stream. I'm in Central Ohio along with Kirsten. Matt is up in Toronto area. We've got our producers in Texas and Georgia, but I'll start with you, Kirsten. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Rick. It's Tuesday, but it kind of feels like a Thursday because we're doing Tech Bites today. But I'm excited to be here, and I'm really excited to talk about some of the topics that we have today during the session.
Indeed, indeed. Matt Crape, this might be the first time I've hosted you on the stream, but a big welcome to you as well.
Thank you very much, Rick. Yes, I'm excited to be back. I always love joining you and the crew. And, like Kirsten said, there's a lot of good stuff in the latest Magic Quadrant report.
And I promise I'm doing this live because I typed it wrong. I tried to say these LinkedIn up here. So that is the topic of the day, the Gartner Magic Quadrant. Put that analyst lens on it. But today we're going to talk Featurepalooza. And if Felicia, our producer, could push out the link on the streams, you can download it. Super happy that Veeam was highlighted to be the ability to execute leader, fifth time in a row. So I think without any ado, Matt and Kirsten, let's jump into it. We're going to start at the picture. And I'm going to start with you, Matt, when we look at ability to execute, because I want to highlight you in particular because you were an end user most recently compared to me. But like, when you look at the ability to execute, if I kind of go on the vertical line as the leader there, what does that mean to you, if you put your prior end user hat on?
It really means that if you say that you're going to deliver on something, you'll deliver it. Right? You're giving me a promise of, oh, this feature is coming, or you'll be able to do this, or maybe it's something that's in product already. Knowing that you're actually able to deliver and execute on, what you're promising, that goes a long way. As you mentioned, I used to be, a customer. I dealt with all sorts of software, and nothing would be more aggravating than, trying out some software to solve a problem, only to find out it didn't actually solve the problem I was looking to solve. So the ability to execute is really something that you kind of really need to pay attention to.
Indeed. It also, I think, speaks to services like support, global footprint, and things like that. And we're gonna spend our time in this part of the text, and I want to highlight that you can download this report. It's right up on the Veeam.com website. Trust me, you can't miss it. But I actually do encourage you to read the whole report. We're going to focus on this time about Veeam, and we're going to do kind of a back and forth of different capabilities. I'm going to have Kirsten go first. And one of the things that I want to highlight that came up here was you picked something, Kirsten. Which was the first capability that you wanted to pick that we're going to talk about here today?
Well, on my list of things to talk about today, I picked object storage because, as you know, customers, end users, organizations are using object storage to store large amounts of unstructured data. And it always takes me back to my early days at Veeam working Spiceworks community, and everybody always asking, hey, can Veeam back up NAS? Can Veeam back up file shares? And back then it was something that we weren't able to do yet. And as we continue to innovate our product and give our customers what they wanted, we finally were able to provide them with file share backup. And then with object storage, with organizations adopting the cloud, we were like, hey, this is another storage that people are putting unstructured data in. So we're going to have to back that up. And so Veeam delivered on that, be able to back up object storage. So it's just one of those solutions and one of those features that we really, listened to our customers and then implemented it into our product.
Yeah, and it's backup of object storage, which is the important part to note because since 2019, if memory serves me right, we've been able to back up too. So I'm going to be switching back and forth from the report to the lab. I got a couple of different environments. They're putting me on the hot seat here. But what I want to highlight is a job. So we have on this example, we have a Scality Artesca job and the source is an object storage backup here. So basically, within the list of other jobs that you might have, you can identify a bucket or a container. Object storage would be in one of those two primary kind of administrative vehicles. And it's really straightforward, Kirsten. We simply identify which object storage we're going to start with, and then we can put it into a backup storage. In fact, one of the really cool capabilities here is you can mix. Now, you could go S3 compatible to the public S3. You could go Azure to S3, but I will tell you on those types of scenarios, metadata won't translate. So you get a warning about those types of things. But any cloud native apps, a lot of times they start in a bucket, and it's literally just like any other backup job. So Kirsten, I think it's pretty easy to get started with something like that. You get all the different controls, and you can have additional copies if you wanted. And of course, the scheduling could be set as well. Any comments on your side?
I would just say, yeah, it's pretty easy to get started backing up object storage. And if my memory serves me correctly, I believe we also have a YouTube video on exactly how to back up object storage available. So if you're like, I don't know how to do this, or maybe I want to walk through it, maybe besides this short demo that Rick did, you can definitely find some more resources out there to do that for you.
Well, that's a very good point, Kirsten. In fact, our YouTube stream, which we're live on right now, has a collective heap, and I'll use that word, of product demos that Matt, myself, and Kirsten, a couple of other colleagues have really been working on. And when you think of source and target, this is really powerful with these object storages. And just to highlight, we could also put those object storage buckets on-prem object storage as well as the cloud. So we have a lot of capabilities there. Really, really powerful stuff. All right, next up, back into the report, I'm going to ask Matt to pick a capability that we're going to talk about here. Matt, anything stick out to you on this list?
I love that our self-describing backup file format was called out. This was something as a customer that I truly always appreciated. And you sort of touched on it there with the object storage, the backup of object storage, being able to move data around. So what is a self-describing file format that you might hear us talk about fairly often? Really, it gives us that portability that we need to be able to take your backups and store them elsewhere. Whether it's a matter of going to a different hypervisor and perform that conversion on the fly, or sometimes it's even a matter of just being able to pull your VMDK files out if your VBR server is not available, or import those files elsewhere. Let's say you're rebuilding something, maybe you've got some old backups that you want to import. You don't need to start worrying about all these catalog files and all that sort of stuff. You can actually just point right to the file and bring it back into Veeam backup and replication. So it's nice. It really talks about the data freedom that we try to promote here at Veeam. It's your data. You should be able to move it where you want. You should be able to access it how you want. And I think this is truly something that Veeam believes in.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, just got word from the producers that the map is ready. We're going to jump over and take a look at that real quick. We've added California and Idaho here in the USA. Let's go over to Europe. We've added Germany and Italy, and then we've added South Africa and India, both of those visible on screen now. So let us know where you're tuning in from, US state or country. We will hit the map location, give you a moment, get those entries in. I always like to see where new entries come from. It's really cool. So Matt, let's talk about this self-describing portable data format. So for those of you keeping score at home, I've switched environments. But one of the things I want to highlight is that if you get into this business of exporting a backup, this is kind of like that first step of making a portable data format. You can take a backup under management by Veeam and then put it somewhere on disk, on a repository, removable media, the cloud, et cetera, et cetera. Now, Matt, I want to highlight something really important here. The self-describing data format is super powerful in true disaster situations. In fact, this is something that I can tell you, we have had customers that have lost everything on site. All they have is a bucket in the cloud, and they were able to drive complete complete recoverability. So that's playing into our 3-2-1 rule. I think that's really powerful.
Absolutely. And that was actually something I used to do as a customer. I would take our backups. This was before cloud storage was, let's say, as cheap as it is today, as attainable. And I would export everything to external hard drives. I'd drop in the extract.exe utility. So I had everything I needed to actually get my data out. And then I would take that to offsite storage. So that flexibility was truly fantastic, right? Like you said, it's one of the easiest ways to start achieving that 3-2-1.
Yeah. And one thing I would highlight, this is kind of how it starts, maybe by exporting the backup. What I don't recommend, generally speaking, is getting into manipulating the files directly of your Veeam backup and replication repository, because I think that if you are, especially if we're talking about object storage, you would want to use it this way to do it. But let's take that scenario, fire, flood, and blood. I've lost everything on site. I need to do an import. We can actually import an object storage directly. Like, for example, I deleted a job. For example, I had this old Hyper-V double play backup. So it's in Wasabi and it's also on premises, but I deleted it. I could go find the Wasabi bucket and import it again. But just to give you a sense of how easy it is, we can either import it back up. I have one on disk here just as an example. Let me double check. I might have had it wrong. Yeah, I did have it this way. Sorry about that. But you can actually just browse in and find the metadata file. And by the way, you'll say 13 kilobytes. That's a pretty small file share. Well, no, that's not a file backup. That is actually just the metadata. Inside of this metadata file mentions the actual larger backup file. So that Veeam backup file format itself is fully portable, whether in this example is on traditional block storage, but we can also go, for example, Matt, and sorry about some of the things being red in my lab. I'm not the best.
That's what labs are for.
That's what labs are for, exactly. But say, for example, I'll show everybody one of the new things here. Zoom right in here. I have an object storage resource called Veeam Data Cloud Vault. Ooh, new shiny stuff. Also mentioned on the Magic Quadrant here as part of the capabilities to highlight. But if I have this particular storage or any of these other ones that you're seeing on the list here, okay, this option right here, rescan, is super powerful in that I can see what's in that object storage resource. Same goes for general purpose storages. I can rescan and make sure that what's on that is inventoried. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I know that I only have, I've only put 142 gigs, right? So I can see right here that it's just a few image-based backups that are under management by Veeam in the Veeam Data Cloud Vault. So it's kind of a very powerful way that you can just enumerate what's in this and then drive complete recovery. There's no concept of a media server, of a catalog, those types of things. Two very important things I want to highlight to everyone, and I see that Jeff is in. Thank you for joining, Jeff. Two very important things I want to highlight about any portable backup format. If you encrypt your data, in fact, Veeam Data Cloud Vault requires that you encrypt your backups to that storage resource. I recommend that you put that encryption password that the end user, the Veeam user, sets. I'm recommending you put that in your password vault, like your service account password manager. And then also maybe take, for example, I have this object first immutable on-premises bucket here, and I have this Wasabi immutable offsite bucket here. I would also recommend that you put those bucket keys into your password manager, because when it comes to absolute recoverability, the encryption password, the bucket keys, those are going to be the things that get you out of that problem very, very quickly. So self-describing portable data format, whether it's on premises, the first example I showed, or in the cloud, that is super, super powerful and relevant stuff. So good choice there. And by the way, Matt, I cannot tell you, this has been, I believe, since version 1, it's been that way, but we have been hitting the drum on this forever, and it's finally been recognized. But I think it actually also stems from some customers recovering from ransomware situations where everything on site is toast, but that copy in the cloud is ready to go. So powerful, powerful stuff. All right, Kirsten, you're up. What's your selection?
So I'm gonna go with the Veeam AI assistant this time.
Uh-oh.
AI is something that we've talked about on the Tech Bytes stream, and it's definitely something that we're hearing about more and more in the industry. And if I could make a Rick joke, I don't even know how to spell AI, right?
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
But anyways, besides the point, the Veeam AI Assistant right now is a chat box within Veeam Backup and Replication that you can ask it questions and find solutions to common issues that are happening in your environment. It's been trained on the Veeam technical documentation, so it should know everything about Veeam, how to set it up, how it's configured, and things like that. And then what it will do is you can ask it any type of question, and you will be able to be provided with the Veeam documentation on your question, as well as any type of knowledge base articles that might be associated with your question. And this is just really the start of the AI assistant. It's going to continue to develop and provide you with more capabilities in the future. So stay tuned for that, right? And so, Rick, do you have any questions you want to ask the assistant just to kind of demonstrate how it works?
But I don't know if I'm scared or flattered, Kirsten, that you are starting to use some of my jokes that I don't even know how to spell AI. The fact, friends, that she is using some of my language is scary, but you're one with my heart there, Kirsten, because that is a Rick joke. I don't even know how to spell AI. All right, so I have a different environment. And one thing I want to highlight about the Veeam AI Assistant: number one, it does require direct connectivity to the internet. Number two, it requires, when you do an installation, you have the option to feed it a file or log in with your Veeam account. It requires to log in with your Veeam account. All right, let's warm it up here. It is up here in the top right, the online assistant. You can see a little widget button, and you can click it and get right into it. Now, it does a brief introduction that I'm your AI assistant with deep knowledge. Okay, let's give it a choice here. Actually, let's put the audience on the hook. I know there's a little bit of latency, but audience and Felicia, it's coming. You might have to relay a question. I'm going to have Kirsten ask a question, but I want the audience. Is there a question that we would like to ask the AI assistant? So if we can, let's relay that through and see what comes in on the different chats, but it'll take a moment for you, the viewers, to type it, and for Felicia to pick it up and roll it back into us. But Kirsten, let's start. What do you, Kirsten, want to ask the AI assistant?
Okay, I'm thinking, hardened repository came to my head. So how about we ask it, hey, how can I set up the Veeam hardened repository?
All right, so let me see. Did I capture your question pretty good there, Kirsten? Hey, how can I set up the Veeam hardened repository?
That looks good.
All right. Now, I will tell you that, like I said, this does require connectivity to the internet. We got a question from Taro. I think I'll ask that question as well. That's great. Let's see here. Let's see what we get. Now, it says it's typing, but it's formulating some recommendations here. You'll see it does give you some kind of brief feedback of what's going on. Oh, look at this. Wow. This is a lot of data. Let's see here. I'm going to check it here. It's got some links. You'll see here. Let me zoom in here. You can see that these links go to official Veeam properties. I like that. Requirements, always a good start there. Prepare a Linux server. Well, that sounds like a daunting task, but no worry. We've got documentation to help you get there. And then on top of that, let's see here. It's walking you through a couple of best practices down here at the bottom. I like that. Disabling SSH. Oh, I like this. What do you rate that score, Matt? Since you're not on this one, get out of a 10-point score, what would be the quality of that answer?
I would give that a very strong 10. I mean, it's got everything that I need there to get me going down the road. And what I really like is, hey, you know what? Maybe I get to step 7 and I have another question. I can actually follow up with a chatbot because this is, very contextually aware. It's having a conversation. So, pick up where you kind of left off, which is pretty cool. Bring that all to within the console, bring it to the product, right? It's really AI at your fingertips.
Indeed, indeed. And so I'm going to take Taro's question, which I think isn't exactly targeted for this use case, but I think it's fine. Is it planned to have a Veeam backup server on Linux? I have no clue how this answer is going to go. Let's see what we get as a response there. And I'm going to take Jeff's question as well. I'm going to go ahead and type it in, Jeff, just getting it ready because interesting. It won't let me put the next question in until I get an answer, which reminds me there is, I don't know if either of you know it. Either of you can answer. There's a limit to how many questions you can ask it per day. Did you know that?
I did know that, Rick. And
Do
I
you
feel
know how
like
many
it's
it is?
around 25.
It
Is
is.
is that right?
It's 30. It's around
Oh,
25.
okay.
Yeah, it's either 20 or 30. Actually, I was gonna if you picked 20 or 30, I would have said ding, 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 you win, Kirsten. But now I can't remember. Okay. So I will tell you, we announced it at VeeamON, but we haven't put a date on it. Okay. Give it a good question here. Okay, good answer. I'll give that a 7 because I think it was based on the GA of 12.1, which since we've announced it at. All right, let's take Jeff's question. This is fun. It is actually, I'm going to do it wrong. I'm going to forget the space. I'll see how good it is. What is the best transport mode for vSAN? All right, so I'm going to take Jeff question here. And again, I'm throwing it a curveball. I didn't put a space in there. Those of you who know me know that I type horribly. Okay, so I'm going to try to see, it figured it out. And, Matt, given your background, give me a score on this answer here. Let me zoom in here so you can read it all. Best transport modes, hot ad. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, what I like is the quality of the question that you fed it is probably less than what I would traditionally get as, I used to work at VMware. I'd field questions all the time pertaining stuff like this. So I was able to actually really interpret what you gave it and, start pushing you to, hey, you know what? This is what you should be looking at. So it wasn't a matter of, oh, sorry, I don't understand. But I was able to come back with what looks to be some, decent information there.
I'm going to take my bad Spanish and I'm going to ask, okay, this is another capability of the AI assistant. You can use a local language. So I'm going to ask if you can put backups in the cloud. And you guys are going to love this. Yes, in Spanish. I'm going to get an answer that, yes, you can use Cloud Connect. Okay, I'm going to give it kind of a 6 because I wanted it to talk more capacity tier here because maybe my question was bad and my Spanish was bad. Okay, last question here. I want to show you what I'm calling AI escape logic. Why do green beans have less fiber than other beans? Okay, now the moment Veeam starts advising on this type of stuff would be an interesting day. But what I want to show is how this AI assistant kind of knows its boundaries, but I think it's kind of funny. Let's see here. I can only give you information related to Veeam products, which is good, but you might want to talk to a relevant expert in that field. Okay, so that's a fair, logical language exit. I think that's good. All right, good stuff. I could play with AI assistant all day. Love that. Let me go ahead and close that conversation here. All right, last one. So that was a Kirsten pick. Matt, you pick one.
We're going to go quick. I'm going to throw you a curveball here. We are specifically called out for, our instant recovery of databases as well as the instant recovery of file shares. Mm-hmm. So that doesn't actually appear in this section. That appears further up under the market overview section. But it's something that Gartner called out specifically saying, hey, you know what? Veeam could do instant recovery more than just VM instant recovery for when you need to get your workloads, back up and running quick.
Yeah, in fact, that's a quick, we'll do a quick show of that. Back to the other environment. The one thing I want to highlight is when you have backups under management by Veeam, or if you go to the restore menu, you can do it either way. You can do it up here or you can do it down here. what I want to highlight is I have this very large SQL server here called, let's find it, object storage, yeah, Deep SQL. I've got a server with hundreds of SQL Server databases on it. And basically, we can right click and do restoring application items, right, like that, SQL Server. Now, I've already preloaded it, a little bit of magic through television. But basically, Veeam Explorer for SQL Server has all of these databases, and I want to draw your attention to SQL Green Dream, this one right here, because this one has full recovery model with logging. I can get into instantly recovering it to a point in time. How cool is that? Where I'm not even a DBA, I can do an instant recovery with point in time and magical slider bar. I can find very specific points in time from the logs. That's pretty cool on database world, Matt, but you also mentioned file shares. So if I go to my file share recovery, instant file share recovery as well, take the backups I have. Let's take this one, most recent one, similar type high-speed recovery. So it's physical servers to VMs, it's VMs to their platform or a new platform, databases, file shares, instant recovery. Veeam is the house, the instant recovery is the house that Veeam built. That's what I'm trying to say. Pretty cool stuff. I mean, it can really get you out of a problem, Matt, rather quickly for sure. All right. Let's see. Well, a couple more comments here. A comment from Taro asking about prereqs help center. That's where it's all at, Taro. So go to helpcenter.veeam.com and you can get all those answers to your questions and more. So just one more look here at the Gartner Magic Quadrant. Right? This is a very comprehensive piece, and they say it takes 45 minutes to read. I don't know. Tell me what you think. You can download this report. If possible, one more time, we'll push out the link where you can download this report. Give it a read. And yeah, some of these other sections, I think, must have standard capabilities. I think that's all a very good read. Really good stuff. All right, so we're kind of out of time. I get all happy and excited showing this stuff. We were going to show Yara. We were going to show Threat Center. We might need to do another show on this. I don't know. But Matt, first of all, thank you so much for joining me here on the stream.
Thank you so much for having me. I always enjoy doing these.
Indeed. I love your willingness to go with it. We just kind of roll with it. That's how we do. Kirsten, and thank you as well for being with us live on a Tuesday.
Yeah, thanks, Rick, for having me.
Indeed. And I want to send a big thanks to our producers, Mark and Felicia, putting up with my shenanigans many times a week. They are fantastic. I'm very grateful for them. And on behalf of the entire Veeam team, thanks for watching this stream. And we will see you Thursday of this week with a special guest from Backblaze. And then the regular scheduled Industry Insight programming jumps back up on a week from today, Tuesday. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.